My abusive life. If you ever been abused, or you ever been that child where you had one parent who was loving and caring, and you had that other parent that was aggressive, mean, and abusive towards you, you're not alone. I went through that pain myself. My father, who loved me and cherished me, was also aggressive and abusive and kept secrets from me. He would shout at me saying, "Corey, why aren't you getting out of the house and meeting people? You're not going to go through in life playing your stupid video games." And he said that many, many times. And it shattered me. It didn't pull me up, it broke me down. He would shout at me, cuss at me as a child, and just say mean things. And he thought he was teaching me a lesson. And sometimes when I was crying, he would shout at me more and say, "Come on, Corey, act like an adult." And I was 7 years old. 7 years old. And up. When I was a child, and I was like, he expected me to act like an adult. At 7 years old to 8 to 10 to whatever. An adult. Seriously? And of course, my dad would say, "I'm your father, Corey. We're a family, Corey," and he would be very manipulative. He would also be controlling, very aggressive and controlling towards me as a child growing up, so that was very hard. Got counseling and therapy. I started having negative thoughts, and it began with him throwing and cussing and bitching at me. And pardon the French. I started sometimes 3 to 5 times acted upon them because of him. Because he made me feel like I was a failure. Well, some of them were. And it just really put me in a dark place. He really hurt me. He really was aggressive. And it was like a lie, and he told me that he went through college. When I was a kid, I was not very athletic. And he would force me to go on bikes, and every time we would take a walk, every time we would ride a bike, he would like, "Come on, Corey, you gotta push it. Come on, Corey. Don't be stupid. Think straight. Come on, Corey." He tried to be a good father, but he wasn't. In his point of view, he was. I loved my grandpa, my dad's dad. He was very kind. He loved jelly beans every Easter. But then once my grandpa passed away, my dad started sharing deep, dark truths. But they were life lessons, like, you know how parents would say, if my dad did that, he would so and so, or ground me. You know, those life lessons where parents would tell their kids what their parents would do. That kind of life lesson. My dad would do that, and he would talk about how his father would slap him, shove him to the ground, and beat him up. He would beat the crap out of him. He one time beat up my uncles and some of my aunts. It really showed that my grandpa, who I loved and cherished, was not the man I thought he was. He was a cold, dark person. He was aggressive and mean. I loved my grandpa, but now ever since my dad shared those stories, I don't know if I love him the much I used to. It's called living a lie. My dad's grandpa, or my dad's dad, passed away when I was about 14 or 16, I don't know. 16, yes. And, you know, it was like tragic. I used to love him, and it was hurt. The whole family was hurt. But ever since knowing the truth, learning the truth about my grandpa, my dad started getting more aggressive and more mean. He would just shout at me, cuss at me. He was just being aggressive and mean and hatred all through my life until my mom revealed to me that he actually never went to college, or he just went for one day and then quit. Another time, she told me that my dad wasn't always there because he loved me. It was also because he lost the rent of his house. He always told me that he loved me, he was always there for me. But to know that he was always there in that hospital because he lost his house. Throughout living negative thoughts and having all these hatreds from my dad, I called him one night and said, "Dad, I had enough. I'm 18 years old. I don't need you in my life. I've had it. I'm done. I want you out of my life." And the minute I said that, he was of course he was angry and cussed, but he agreed and left me. I haven't seen my father in between 3 to 2 years. So that's my story of my dad. You're not alone if you're going through aggressive and abusive parents. You're not alone if you think you are. We all have stories. Every hero has a dark past, but sometimes that dark past is because of those who hurt him the most. Even sometimes betrayal from friends to loved ones who hurt him and crushed him the hardest, and that was me. My entire past. Thank you. This is your Corey Dreamer. Signing off.